and welcome back to While You Were Cleaning. Today I have a ladder DIY video to share with you. So I had two goals when it came to putting together this DIY ladder. I wanted, first off, for it to be the absolute most affordable way that you can put together one of these decor ladders for your home. I have seen these ladders in home decor stores and I've seen them online, and I know that they can get to be very expensive, and I wanted to come up with what I think is the most affordable way to make one so that if you've wanted one of these for your own home, you can now afford to make it for yourself. The second goal that I had in making this video was to put together a ladder that could be used in any decor style. I know that they're probably a little bit more popular with farmhouse decor, but I wanted it to be very eclectic and that you could use it with any decor style. I have two other smaller DIYs to share with you today as well, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, please hit that like button, please comment and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get started. To make this ladder, you'll need two of these 2x2 furring strip boards. These are 8 feet long and they cost just over $2 each. Some hardware stores will cut boards for you, or you can cut them at home. You'll want to cut two 6-foot long boards, and then with the remaining 24-inch pieces, you'll want to cut 4 12-inch pieces. I used my electric sander to sand down these boards. You can also use a piece of sandpaper or a sanding block. These do have some rough edges because they are considered to be a construction lumber, so you just want to make sure that you don't have any splinters sticking out on any of the edges. And then on your two 6-foot long boards, you also want to really smooth down the ends of those boards and the edges so that they don't have any sharp edges that might ding your walls or your floor. When you lay out your boards, turn any knots or rougher edges facing down so that all of your nicer edges are facing up. Next, you're going to take a ruler and you're going to place that first rung 12 inches down from the top of each of your 6-foot boards. We're going to be using these 2.5-inch construction screws. I like the gold color on these, but you can use any screws that you might have on hand as long as they're long enough. We used a drill bit to pre-drill where our screws would go into the rungs. We just wanted to prevent these boards from splitting. You'll probably need an extra set of hands in order to put this ladder together. Once the holes are pre-drilled, then you can add your screw in place. We went ahead and screwed both sides of each rung in place before moving on to the next rung. Next, from that top rung, you want to measure another 12 inches down on both sides to attach the second rung in place. Repeat these same steps to measure out and attach all 4 rungs in place. So again, the first rung is 12 inches down from the top of the ladder, and then there's a 12-inch space between each of the next rungs, moving all the way down the ladder until you finish all 4 of them. This leaves about an 18-inch space at the bottom of the ladder, and I like that it has a little bit wider space there. To stain my ladder, I'm going to be using this Minwax wood finish. It's in the color Dark Walnut. I prefer to use a scrap rag piece or an old washcloth to stain with. I just like the way that the stain goes on with using it a little bit better than using a paintbrush or a foam brush. I also always use a pair of gloves, and these reusable cleaning gloves from Dollar Tree work really well because they go up your arms and keep the stain from getting onto your skin. A rag piece also works really well when staining rougher boards like this one because it's a lot easier to get the stain into any of the grooves along the wood. And here the ladder is all stained. I did not add any sort of clear finished coat to this project. And here I want to share a little ladder secret with you all. You're going to use some of these felt protection pieces on the top portion of your ladder. These are what you would put on the bottom of furniture like chairs to keep them from scratching your floor. And then you're going to use some of these foam pieces on the bottom edge of your ladder. When you lean the ladder against the wall, these little surface protection pieces come in handy. The felt pieces at the top keep the ladder from leaving marks on your painted walls, and the foam pieces at the bottom keep your ladder from sliding on your hardwood floors. One of my favorite ways to use these ladders is to hang blankets in my living room. It's a great way to gain some vertical storage. But I also wanted to show you some other ways to decorate this ladder, so we'll do a couple DIYs. For the first DIY, you'll need a grapevine or willow wreath from Dollar Tree. You'll also need some greenery. I'm going to be using this boxwood that I picked up from Walmart for 97 cents. You'll want to pull the boxwood apart and then use some wire cutters to cut each of the branches from the main stem. And then this wreath is really simple to put together. You're just going to be pushing each of these branches into your willow wreath until it holds in place. You can also hot glue these branches in place. I decided to not glue them down just in case I wanted to change up this wreath in the future. I've seen these boxwood wreaths sold at a few different stores, and they're usually pretty expensive, $20 or more. This wreath cost me $5. I used just the grapevine wreath as a frame, and then I used 4 of the boxwood stems from Walmart. I really love how affordable this wreath turned out to be. For the next project, you're going to need 2 large paint sticks. I picked these up from my local hardware store. When I told them I just needed 2, they just gave them to me, but you can also buy them in a pack at Walmart. And then we're going to be using 11 inches of this paint stick on the end that does not have the handle on it. So just make your mark at 11 inches. And then we're going to use a small handsaw to cut this apart. This small handsaw worked really well. You can also use an electric saw. You'll just want to tape that end to keep it from chipping. And lastly, with these pieces, you'll want to use some sandpaper along the surface and on the ends just to smooth it out a little bit. You can also stain these pieces if you would like, or paint them, just depending on what colors you're going with. I decided to leave them the natural color. Next, I'm going to be using one of the drawings from this calendar that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using the December picture for this project. I wanted to add some cardstock or something a little bit sturdier to the back of this picture to keep it from ripping. I just wasn't sure how it would do since it is a thinner paper. So I used some Elmer's rubber cement and then added my calendar piece on top of a piece of cardstock. Next, I added some hot glue along the bottom and top edges of this picture to add my wood pieces, and it was really nice that this picture had the lines that I could line up the wood pieces to. And lastly, I wanted to add some twine to the top of my picture to hang it with, so I cut about a 12-inch piece of twine and then hot glued it to each of the back corners of the top of my picture. And here are all of today's projects completed, and this is just another way to style this ladder besides using it for blankets. This ladder cost me under $5 in supplies to make. I did already own the stain and the screws, but I used a very small amount of those. To style this ladder with decorations, I used a burlap ribbon to hang the boxwood wreath on the top rung. And then on the next rung down, I added the new decor sign made from a calendar page. And below that, I hung a thrift store find, this jar with the rope handle, a small Dollar Tree sign, and a blanket on the last rung. That is everything that I have for you in today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!